A very warm welcome to the 13th recitation, which is the recitation project. This video, along with the materials, are going to be uploaded on the 25th of April, which is a Monday. So, you will have the entire day to until like 11:59 p.m. to do the recitation project and submit it. And the accept until date is 3 days after the recitation project, which would be the 28th of April. So you can submit it before 28th of April, 11:59 p.m. again. And the evaluation over here, it is of 25 points. And if you want to make the submission, you have to submit it to Canvas as an Excel file. And you can name the Excel file as recitation project. So to get credit for this project, you need to keep two things in mind. First is that you should submit your Excel sheet to Canvas on time. And the second thing is that the grader should be able to open the file by clicking on the link and making sure that the Excel file opens. So a bit background about what the project is going to consist of. So this project is designed to practice the use of formulas built in MS Excel functions, the what if analysis. So it mainly consists of all the concepts that we have covered previously in the Excel series of the recitations. So feel free to go back to those videos and take help from it to do the recitation project. Also, for this project, you will upload your Excel file to Canvas as mentioned before, so that it can be accessed just by clicking on the link, the files link. So a few directions before we move on to what the actual project is. Carefully follow all the instructions which are listed on the pages that we're going to see forward in order to create and complete the recitation project file. Also, do not forget to enter your name on the worksheet. So you can enter your name on the A1 cell of the Excel sheet and submit the file to Canvas by using the Canvas and go to assignments and then submitting it there. Make sure that you name it as recitation project. So now coming to what the project is, I will go through all the steps that you need to do, and then you can do so while creating your solution. So the first is the grades. You're gonna name the spreadsheet as grades. And the first thing that we're gonna do is we go to Canvas, we go to the CS 170 page that is there for the course, then go to the grades page and then do the following steps that are there. So the A part is you have to start Excel and create a blank worksheet. Then you have to select the cell C3 on the worksheet and enter assignment 1 on it. Then you go on to the C part where you select the fill handle on C3 and drag down to transfer the entry all the way to cell C13. So when you do this, you will see that the numbers have been adjusted automatically, and assignment 2, assignment 3, etc. they appear on the C column. Ensure that assignment 11 is on C13 cell. Then the D part is select the cell C14 on the worksheet and enter quiz 1 on it. Then you move on to the E part where you again select the fill handle on C14 and drag down to transfer the entry all the way to cell C22. So now what you'll see is that the numbers have been adjusted automatically, and quiz 2, quiz 3, etc. they appear on the C column. Make sure that quiz 9 is on C22. Then you go to the F part and rename the worksheet as grades. Then you type the following 5 entries on cell C24 to C28, which is as follows: exam 1, exam 2, instructor extra credit, TA extra credit, and recitation project. The H part, you have to add the following 3 entries to the list of activities on the C column, that is below C28. Final exam part 1, final exam part 2, and final exam part 3. The I part is starting on the cell D3, enter the numeric scores that you have obtained so far as listed in the scores column of the grades page. Then you, starting on the cell E3, type the maximum number of points possible for each grades item as listed in the out of column of the grades page on Canvas. So you have 2 points for assignment 1, 20 points for the other assignments other than assignment 2 and assignment 9, which are worth 15 points. Then you have 25 points for the recitation project, 5 points for each quiz, and 60 points each for exam 1 and exam 2. Then you have 40 points for each part of the final exam. Now, there is one thing to note, that if there is any item for which you do not have a grade yet, remove the maximum points for it. Then you go on to the K part. On row 35, do the following. Enter the label totals on C35. The total points obtained will be calculated on C35. Since there might be some blank cells, an appropriate function for the cell is SUMIF. Just to see what the arguments of SUMIF are, there are 3 arguments. The first is range. The list of scores on D column, that is including blank cells for the activities with no scores yet. Then you have the criteria, that is greater than or equal to 0. You can express this using the Excel notation. And lastly, you have the sum underscore range. The list of scores on the D column, including blank cells for the activities with no scores yet. Then you have to copy the function from D35 to E35 using the fill handle. Now we come to the I part. On row 36, enter the label performance on C36. On D36, enter a formula to calculate your performance percentage by simply dividing your total points by the total maximum points. Those numbers are on row 35. And then format your performance with percentage style, also with 1 decimal. Then you come to the M part. On G3, start a table of equivalence between percentage points, which is on the G column, and letter grades, which is on the H column, using the following grading table, which is derived from the grading section of the syllabus. Once completed, the grading table should start at G3 and end at H9. So you have 0% F, 60% D, 70% C, 76% C plus, 80% B, 87% B plus, and 90% as A. On row 37, you have to enter the label letter grade on C37. Then on D37, insert the VLOOKUP function to calculate the current letter grade based on your performance percentage, and grading table created on G3 to H9. So the arguments for the VLOOKUP function are as follows. The first one is lookup underscore value, which is your numeric performance percentage that comes from D36. Then you have table underscore array, the table that converts percentages into letter grades, which you created starting on G3. And the last one is the call underscore index underscore num, which is 2, since the second column contains the letter grades. Now we come to the O part, which is the what if analysis. Now that you have calculated a letter grade for your current schools, you will run some simulation scenarios to evaluate the possible effect of the final exam. So the formula entered on cell D35, which currently contains SUMIF, needs to be modified to process the hypothetical final exam scores for each of its parts. So to process the second chance option, the formula on D35 needs to be expanded. Now, instead of just equal to SUMIF, the format will become equal to SUMIF plus if plus if. The first if that needs to be added, use the formula bar to add it, and it will have the following arguments. Also note that use the Excel notation. Value underscore if underscore false does not need an entry. So let's just look at the arguments. The first is logical underscore test, which is 1.5 into score of the final exam part 1 is greater than score of exam 1. Then you have value underscore if underscore true, that is 1.5 into score of the final exam part 1 minus score of exam 1. And as mentioned earlier, value underscore if underscore false does not need an entry. At this point, D35 should have the following format, which is sum if, plus if, and so on. The second if that needs to be added will have the following arguments. Logical underscore test, that is 1.5 into score of the final exam part 2 is greater than score of exam 2. Then value underscore if underscore true is 1.5 into score of final exam part 2 minus the score of exam 2. And value underscore if underscore false will not need an entry. So now at this point, D35 will have the format equal to sum if plus if plus if. Some numbers have to be added to the rows where final exam part 1, final exam part 2, and final exam part 3 are located. On the D column of those rows, place some hypothetical numbers. Example 34 on each of those 3 cells. The E column for those rows should have 40 on those cells, since the maximum score for each part of the final exam is 40. Now, at this point, the what if analysis may start. Click on D37, then on the data tab, go to what if analysis, then go to scenario manager. Proceed to create at least 3 scenarios with different data for the changing cells. The 3 cells on the D column with the hypothetical scores for the parts of the final exam. The result cell when closing the scenario manager by clicking on the summary button, that is D37. The P part is, after generating the scenario summary, you can save your work by using the file save as option and then proceed to submit it to Canvas. You can go to the CS 170 course page, and under assignments, under recitation projects, you can submit your assignment. So with this, we come to an end to what we have to do in the recitation project. And to be marked for attendance, please make sure that you fill the Google form out so that you can be marked present. Thank you. And since this was our last recitation of the semester, I just want to say thank you for attending all the recitations. And I hope that all the videos were of great help to you during the entire semester and also helped you do the assignments.